The story begins with a couple who bring an old sofa into their apartment. The girl's name is Sophie, and the boy's name is James. Sophie had done all the work and now she was about to repair the sofa. Both of them were happy in their married life and living peacefully. Their financial condition was average. However, James's father was very rich, as he was a businessman and owned a large company. For some reason, James didn't live with his father, and instead chose to live a simple, happy life with Sophie. One day, James finds out that his father has passed away, and all of his property has been transferred to James. This means James now has to run his father's company. Because of this, they leave their old lifestyle behind and step into a new one. Earlier, they lived in a small apartment, but now they have a luxurious house. But Sophie wasn't very happy with this sudden change. Everything had changed too quickly, which felt strange to her. Still, they accept this new reality, as they now have to live this way. On the very first day, Sophie fires 2 house servants. She wasn't used to having help because she preferred doing everything herself. James tries to explain that she shouldn't have done that. This is a big house, you won't be able to manage everything alone. We'll need help, but Sophie insists that she doesn't want to get used to it. She believes they should do their own work and live life on their own terms. This change also affects James. He now has the responsibility of managing the entire company, which stresses him out. At the same time, Sophie struggles to handle all the work alone. James discusses this issue with a colleague at his company. The colleague suggests a solution. There is a scientist working in the company whose father also worked there. They have created human-like robots, so realistic that no one can tell whether they are robots or humans. These robots can do all kinds of work just like humans. James needs someone to handle everything, so he brings Sophie to the company and asks her to choose one robot. Sophie is amazed after seeing them. They look exactly like humans. Eventually, they decide to bring one robot home. The robot's name is Henry. The creator assures them that these robots won't harm them. They are extremely useful and obedient. To prove it, he asks Henry to lick James's shoes, showing that the robot will obey any command, good or bad. This was something important to notice, but despite that, they bring Henry home. Henry performs his duties perfectly and gradually takes over all the work. This greatly helps both Sophie and James. When James talks to him, Henry responds politely. James starts liking him a lot because Henry seems perfect, no less than a human. He even begins sharing everything with Henry. Initially, Sophie finds Henry strange, but over time she starts liking him too. She spends time with him and reads her favorite books with him. Henry also becomes comfortable and starts opening up more. He was designed in such a way that if his owner is happy, he also feels happy. He is programmed to follow orders and keep his owner satisfied. At first, Sophie and James's life was chaotic, but now everything feels smooth. One day, Sophie asks Henry about emotions, love, and human feelings. Henry explains these concepts clearly and even highlights the differences. Seeing this, James tells Henry not to talk about such things. He says, "You're good at everything else, just avoid these topics." The truth is, James has become so busy that he doesn't spend much time with Sophie anymore. He starts noticing that Sophie is getting attached to Henry and feels happy around him. This makes James jealous, even though he knows Henry is just a robot. He begins to dislike Henry. James keeps reminding himself that Henry is not human, but Sophie starts seeing him as one because he displays human-like emotions. She is deeply impressed by him, but James doesn't like this at all. He tries to explain to Sophie that Henry is just a machine. Don't treat him like a human, because if we do, he will start believing he is one. But Sophie disagrees. To her, Henry feels completely human and flawless. One night, Sophie hears a noise and goes to check on Henry. His room door is open, but he's not there. She finds him lying in the garden. When she gets closer, she realizes that Henry is dreaming. This is something unusual for robots. James wakes him up and they take him inside. The next day, they inform the scientist about this. The scientist comes to inspect Henry and says there's nothing wrong, it's just a minor glitch. Sophie mentions that Henry was dreaming. The scientist explains that since Henry has been living with them, he may have started developing thoughts and emotions. Because they treated him like a human, he started believing he is one. Hearing this, James gets angry at Sophie and blames her. He says, "From now on, treat him like a machine. He has no emotions." But Sophie refuses to see Henry that way. This creates tension between the couple. James then instructs Henry to stay away from Sophie, not to spend time with her or read books with her. Henry asks, "Did I do something wrong?" James replies, "Don't argue, just follow orders." The next day, Henry tells Sophie everything. She gets angry and leaves the house. Henry then explains to James that the problems between him and Sophie are not because of him. It's because of their new lifestyle. They stopped spending time together. That's why Sophie got drawn to Henry. Even knowing he's not human, she started liking him. She even dreamed about him. Henry is so perfect that even James starts feeling drawn to him. One day, when Sophie is not home, James behaves badly with Henry. Henry feels hurt but doesn't tell Sophie. Later, James apologizes to Sophie and asks her to come back home, but Sophie has already developed feelings for Henry. One day, while they are together, Henry develops human emotions and confesses that he loves her. This scares Sophie. Henry is now behaving completely like a human. She tells him to go back where he came from. Sophie informs James about the confession. James becomes aggressive, slaps Henry, and shuts him down. He calls the scientist to take the robot back, saying it has ruined their lives. But Henry has now changed. He realizes they plan to destroy him. He begs Sophie not to send him away. He admits his mistake and says he feels ashamed. He also reveals that James treated him badly. Sophie feels hurt hearing this. Both Sophie and James then admit they were attracted to Henry. They regret it and decide to get rid of him. Soon the scientist arrives to take Henry. But this time Henry doesn't obey. He insults the scientist. And here, a big twist is revealed. Henry is not a robot. He is actually a human. The scientist was experimenting on real humans, trying to make them perfect. His goal was to create humans who never make mistakes and always obey. Henry was brainwashed since childhood to believe he was a robot. But living with Sophie awakened his real human emotions, his dreams, his love. That's why both Sophie and James were drawn to him. Because he was truly human. When the police find out, they arrest everyone involved in the experiments. The scientist goes mad seeing his work destroyed and kills the officers. He tries to kill Sophie and James too, but Henry protects them and kills the scientist. After this, Henry becomes so depressed that he attempts suicide. He leaves Sophie and James forever. Years later, we see Sophie and James with a child. They have named their son Henry. They never forgot him. He became an eternal memory in their lives. Friends, this movie shows trying to make humans perfect can be dangerous. Because emotions are what truly make us human. In relationships, time and emotional connection matter more than convenience. This is the story of Life Like, a film released in 2019. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. Comment on which scene impacted you the most. And don't forget to subscribe for more movie explanations. Thank you. See you next time with another interesting story. Till then, take care and goodbye.